There's still one problem we have to solve before this Bugatti can ever see the road again. After months of rebuilding one of the world's most exclusive hypercars, Matt Armstrong thought he was finally nearing the finish line. The engine was back together. Damaged carbon fiber had been replaced. Critical systems were slowly coming back to life. But the biggest obstacle wasn't hiding under the hood. It was the growing controversy surrounding the project itself. Around the world, millions of people were watching every move. Some praised Matt as a genius who refused to accept the impossible. Others believed he was stepping into territory that only the manufacturer should ever handle. What began as the restoration of a crashed Bugatti had evolved into something much bigger. It had become a debate about ownership, repair rights, and just how much control a manufacturer should have over a car after it's been sold. Was Matt proving that independent mechanics could accomplish the impossible? Or was he challenging boundaries that should never be crossed? By the end of this story, you'll understand why one damaged Bugatti sparked a worldwide conversation that continues to divide the automotive community today. Welcome back to Turbo Drive, where we bring you the biggest stories from the world of supercars, engineering, and automotive innovation. If you love incredible rebuilds and the untold stories behind the world's most exclusive cars, make sure you subscribe to Turbo Drive and turn on notifications so you never miss a new documentary. To understand how this controversy began, we need to go back long before the Bugatti ever entered Matt Armstrong's workshop. Matt didn't grow up surrounded by million-dollar hypercars or state-of-the-art factories. He grew up in Leicester, England, learning how cars worked beside his father, Tony. Instead of studying engineering from textbooks, he learned by taking vehicles apart, solving problems with his own hands, and understanding that almost every mechanical failure has a solution if you're willing to keep searching. Cars weren't his only passion, though. As a teenager, Matt dedicated himself to BMX riding, eventually becoming a professional competitor. He traveled across Europe and even competed in Dubai, building a successful sporting career while filming his rides and sharing them online. At the time, it looked like BMX would define his future. Then everything changed. A serious shoulder injury forced him to retire far earlier than anyone expected. For many athletes, that would have been the end of their dream. For Matt, it became the beginning of another. Unable to continue competing, he returned to the family garage and started focusing entirely on cars. Around the same time, he began uploading videos to YouTube. They weren't flashy productions or highly polished tutorials. They were honest records of what it was really like to rebuild damaged vehicles. If something went wrong, viewers saw it. If a repair failed, he didn't edit it out. People weren't just watching cars being repaired, they were following someone learning, adapting, and refusing to quit. That honesty helped him build a loyal audience. One of his earliest breakthrough moments came after his partner Hannah's Audi TT was badly damaged in an accident. Instead of giving up on the car, Matt documented every stage of bringing it back to life. That project connected with viewers around the world. Soon, ordinary cars gave way to performance cars. Performance cars became supercars. Then came Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys. Each rebuild was more ambitious than the last, and every successful project strengthened his reputation as someone willing to take on jobs that most workshops wouldn't even consider. But none of those cars prepared him for what was waiting in late 2025. A badly crashed Bugatti Chiron had appeared. For most people, it looked beyond saving. The front of the car had been devastated. Carbon fiber components were shattered. The airbags had deployed. Major cooling systems were damaged. Structural parts had absorbed the impact exactly as they were designed to do. Insurance companies reportedly considered the repair costs so high that the vehicle was effectively treated as a write-off. Many people looked at the wreck and saw nothing but an incredibly expensive collection of broken parts. Matt Armstrong saw something else. He saw the greatest challenge of his career. But rebuilding a Bugatti isn't like rebuilding an ordinary performance car. The Chiron represents some of the most advanced automotive engineering ever put into a production vehicle. Every component is designed to work as part of an incredibly complex system. Specialized electronics, proprietary software, and precision-built mechanical parts all work together to produce astonishing levels of performance. That's exactly why so many people doubted the project from the very beginning. According to the account surrounding the rebuild, obtaining factory support and replacement parts for this specific vehicle became a major obstacle. Without easy access to official components, even relatively small repairs became incredibly complicated. Every missing part created another problem. Every damaged component forced Matt and his team to think differently. Instead of simply ordering replacements, they often had to find creative engineering solutions. Almost overnight, the rebuild became more than a technical challenge. It became the center of a much larger discussion. Supporters argued that if someone legally owns a vehicle, they should have the freedom to repair it wherever they choose. Others believed manufacturers have a responsibility to control repairs on machines capable of extraordinary performance, especially when safety is involved. Both sides had valid concerns. On one hand, manufacturers invest enormous resources developing vehicles that operate at the highest levels of engineering. On the other, independent mechanics have spent decades proving that skill and experience don't always require factory approval. As Matt continued documenting the rebuild, that debate spread far beyond his workshop. Mechanics, engineers, collectors, and enthusiasts all began asking the same question. Who really controls a car after it's been sold? The owner? Or the company that built it? For Matt, those discussions were happening online. Inside the workshop, however, there was only one thing that mattered: finding a way to bring the Bugatti back to life. And as the team began stripping the car apart, they quickly discovered that the damage was even worse than anyone had imagined. As the team began stripping the Bugatti apart, they quickly realized the damage was far more extensive than anyone had imagined. From the outside, the crash looked devastating enough. But once the body panels came off, hidden problems began to emerge. Cooling lines had been crushed. Suspension components were bent beyond repair. Critical structural pieces had absorbed enormous impact forces, doing exactly what they were designed to do in order to protect the rest of the car. Then came the biggest concern of all: the engine. The Bugatti Chiron's quad-turbocharged W16 isn't just another high-performance engine. It's one of the most advanced production engines ever created, producing around 1,500 horsepower through an incredibly sophisticated design. If the crash had caused severe internal damage, the rebuild could have ended right there. After a careful inspection, there was finally some good news. The engine block appeared to have survived. It was a huge relief, but it didn't mean the hard work was over. Every major system still had to be inspected, repaired, and tested before anyone could be confident the car would ever run again. And that was only the mechanical side of the project. Finding replacement parts presented an entirely different challenge. Without easy access to factory components, many repairs couldn't be completed in the traditional way. Instead of replacing damaged pieces, Matt and his team had to rely on creativity, fabrication, and problem-solving. Components were repaired where possible, custom-made when necessary, and carefully adapted to keep the project moving forward. One of the biggest talking points involved the airbag system. After the crash, the airbags had deployed and needed to be replaced. According to the rebuild, sourcing official replacements wasn't straightforward, so the team explored compatible alternatives within the wider Volkswagen group. The decision generated intense discussion online. Some viewers admired the ingenuity and saw it as another example of engineering resourcefulness. Others questioned whether modifications like these should ever be made on a hypercar of this caliber. The debate spread quickly across social media. Was this an example of brilliant problem-solving? Or was it proof that certain repairs should only be carried out by the manufacturer? As the project gained millions of views, it also attracted attention from across the automotive industry. Bugatti publicly emphasized the importance of maintaining the safety, quality, and engineering standards of its vehicles. Company representatives expressed concerns about repairs carried out outside approved procedures, especially on a machine capable of extraordinary performance. From the manufacturer's perspective, that position is understandable. A Bugatti isn't simply a luxury car. It's an engineering masterpiece designed to operate under extreme conditions. Every component plays a role in achieving the performance, stability, and safety expected from a vehicle capable of remarkable speeds. At the same time, many mechanics and enthusiasts viewed the situation differently. They argued that skilled professionals have rebuilt complex machines for decades and that ownership should include the freedom to choose who performs repairs. The discussion soon became much larger than one damaged Chiron. It reflected a growing issue affecting the entire automotive industry. Modern vehicles increasingly depend on proprietary software, encrypted control modules, and manufacturer-controlled diagnostic systems. Even experienced independent workshops can find themselves locked out of repairs that were once considered routine. Supporters of these systems believe they help maintain safety, protect intellectual property, and preserve engineering quality. Critics argue they give manufacturers too much control over products that customers already own. Matt Armstrong's Bugatti rebuild became one of the most visible examples of that growing debate. While millions of people discussed the controversy online, Matt remained focused on the task in front of him. Piece by piece, the Chiron came back together. Electrical systems were restored. Cooling components were rebuilt. Mechanical assemblies were carefully reinstalled. Every successful repair brought the team one step closer to hearing the legendary W16 engine roar back to life. Eventually, after months of relentless work, that moment finally arrived. The engine fired into life, proving that the project had overcome one of its greatest obstacles. Soon after, the Bugatti moved under its own power once again, a milestone that many people had believed was impossible when the wreck first appeared. Whether people agreed with every repair decision or not, one thing became impossible to ignore. The rebuild had sparked a conversation that reached far beyond a single hypercar. It challenged people to think differently about ownership, innovation, and the future of automotive repair. Should manufacturers retain control over how their vehicles are repaired after they're sold? Or should skilled independent mechanics have the freedom to restore these machines without unnecessary restrictions? It's a debate that isn't likely to disappear anytime soon, especially as vehicles become more connected, more software-driven, and more dependent on proprietary technology. Matt Armstrong's story reminds us that great engineering isn't only about designing incredible machines. It's also about the determination to solve difficult problems when the odds seem impossible. Whether you side with the manufacturer or with independent repairers, this project demonstrated one undeniable truth: passion, persistence, and ingenuity still have a place in the automotive world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most talked about rebuilds in recent years, don't forget to subscribe to Turbo Drive for more stories about legendary cars, groundbreaking engineering, and the people who continue to push the limits of what's possible. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Turbo Drive.